everybody. Welcome to Thursday edition of Box Seats. I'm your host, Frank Holder. This is the show where we talk sports with comedians. Yeah, just like that. We have a great conversation with them. And after all the stuff that's going on in the sports world, a little bit of comedy is definitely not going to hurt. So let's bring up my man, Talent. He's one of the comics who's been known to travel the world, been all kinds of things, done everything. So, I got to talk to you first, Talent. Say, what's going on, son? How's everything?
Hey, man, finally, the heat wave broke here in New York. We're down into the 70s out of the hundreds.
Really?
No rain. It's cool, a breeze in the air. It's a great day, Frank.
Yeah, everything can't be much better than that, right? Cool breeze.
No, that's it. Perfect. All we need.
Yeah, cool breeze. And I hope we don't have nothing like Bill Cosby news right now during the show. It throws off the whole tempo of the show. You know what I mean? Let me bring up my man, Fig. Fig, how you doing, brother? How's everything?
Hey, man, I'm doing great, man. It's nice and cool here, too, baby. The trees are blowing. I can see the leaves moving ever so gently, and I'm feeling good.
That's good. That's good. That's good. We got a lot to cover today, man. I'm going to start out first. We're talking about the COVID report. Yesterday, I told you guys about what was going on with obviously the fake COVID report and the fake testing. The Olympics now put out a news thing because, I'm following this line by line. The Olympics put out a report last night saying that any athlete that is caught faking the COVID test, everything else will be disqualified from ever competing in the Olympics. Ever. Now, if that doesn't deter people right now to come forward and come clean and saying, hey, you know what, I think I caught it. They said, if they catch you, you'll never be able to compete again in the Olympics. If they don't catch you, everything else you are, then of course you have an opportunity to come forward and come clean. So, Talent, dry snitching or what you think it is on yourself?
Obviously, as soon as you said that, listen to the dog. As soon as you said that. I speak dog. They saying they dry snitches.
They dry snitches?
No, but all jokes aside, for real, that's exactly what they're doing. Setting the tone for the future.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what it's all about. Fig, what you think, bro?
The Olympics is a multi-billion-dollar business. Why aren't they doing their own COVID testing? I mean, the NBA did it in the bubble last year. Why aren't the Olympics doing their own COVID testing so they can't be faked? That's just dumb. You let people do their own COVID test? Oh, yeah. This is a note from my mother.
Let me interrupt you. Just say, Fig, I think you're misunderstanding. They're talking about people who do the testing for the Olympic trials before they get there. So they're going to test you when you get there. But they're saying if you get caught with the fake test before you got there and they find out, you're going to get disqualified from ever competing in the Olympics again. That's the key point. So,
it's silly if they're going to give you, if you got to test yourself before you get there, you say, oh yeah, I'm good. And then when you get there, they're going to give you another one. What's the sense? It's kind of dumb. It's like, yo, you going to get caught. It's like, what? How you fake a test and then when you get there, they're going to test you again? It's just like you gave yourself a home test, an open book test, and you got 100. You turned it into your teacher. You say, all right, well, sit down because we about to take a test again. You be looking at what?
Well, you know what they could be doing? They could be doing it because at the end of the day, they might not trust the fact that people have taken, their own COVID test. You know what I'm telling you?
They figure if people are getting these fake ones done and coming in with, oh, here, look, I'm negative. They're like, we already done busted one or two. All it takes is one. When you find one person faked it, and when that secondary test proves that they faked it, they're going crazy. All it takes is one.
Yeah, they're definitely doing that. Now, next story, man, I got to talk to you. I'm going to throw it out to you first, Talent, because this is something that really, really said to me, it's ugly all the way around. I don't know if you guys heard of this, but there's a Florida State, ex-NFL, ex-Florida State collegiate player, wide receiver. His name is Tamaron Terry. This really screams of Allen Iverson. I don't know if you guys heard this story. He got charged with murder of a 2018 shooting at one of 11 people outside of a nightclub in Ashburn, Georgia. Now, here's the story. They're firing shots. He is one of 11 people who got arrested. A stray shot went and shot and killed a girl. He was like Allen Iverson. He was the most popular guy of the 11th. He got arrested. This kid was supposed to go get drafted in the NFL. He was 1 of 11, and now 11 people are being charged with murder. If that don't scream Allen Iverson all over again. Remember the bowling incident where Allen Iverson got caught up and all that? Except this time, unlike Allen Iverson, people got beaten, hurt, and everything else, but this person got murdered. You know what I mean? Talent, what's your thoughts on this?
Well, first of all, I mean, he knows that he's a star athlete. He knows the potential of his future. This is why, to whom much is given, much is expected. People are expecting more from you. So you have to, the circles you move in, you got to be extra cautious, bro. Like, I learned that a long time ago. Just something simple like being the guy before the other guy to headline a club, and then you and this guy getting into an altercation in the club. You got to walk away because the headlines are going to read your name because they know you. They don't know this guy. So it's a bigger deal because they're going to go after the person they know. Like you said, something like this happens, the feds, the state police, whoever's involved, the DA, attorney general, they're going to come for the big name to make the biggest example.
Yeah, they will. Fig, I'm gonna throw it out to you. When you hear about this, what's your thought that crosses your mind? Because I don't know about some of these young cats. I would be screaming to them like, stop going to these nightclubs all the time. You know what I mean? That's what I would be saying. But I don't know. What you think?
Frank, all three of us got grown kids.
Yeah, I know.
So when did they start listening to us?
Yeah, I know.
Come on, man. You can tell them, and they can be like, "Oh yeah, I'm not going to." And as soon as they out of your sight, they do whatever the hell they want to do. You don't know. The unfortunate thing with young people is that their brains don't all the way fully develop until a certain age. And the part of the brain that doesn't fully develop is for them to see the consequences of their actions now, how it's going to affect them down the line. And you would think, like, God, man, shouldn't that be the first thing to develop? No, unfortunately, it's the last thing to develop in your brain. So young people, they make awful decisions. And that's why, they have parents to sort of guide them along. But the worst thing about this, how do you charge 11 people with murder unless 11 people are dead? One person died and 11 people did it. I can see if they jumped him and beat him to death. But they just, the big thing is, they don't know who the hell did it, so they're just going to charge everybody.
And not only that, let's not forget neither where I said it's at. It's in Ashburn, Georgia. It's a black nightclub. You already know they're going to try to lock everybody up. They're going to, like, if the DA can charge 11 people, which he is doing right now, if he can convict 11 people and have all 11 people go away for first degree or second degree murder, they're going to do that.
What was that Bone Thugs and Harmony song? They're going to lock up everybody. They're going to lock up everybody.
But that's how it goes. I mean, think about it. I remember being a young, dumb street runner and got into a car that happened to be stolen. Did I know? No, but it don't matter. If everyone is not saying, hey, this person did it, everyone in that car is going down.
Right. And for example,
same thing happened to me.
Yeah, it's just like if a gun is found in a car today. If someone doesn't own up to say, oh, that was my gun, everybody in that car is being charged with that gun.
Right. And in Massachusetts, sometimes even if somebody does own up, everybody's still going. It depends on the case. You know what I mean? They're still.
Well, that's different. Now you're getting into Salem's Lot out there.
Yeah, I'm sorry. That's a different show. All right, let me keep it moving on, man. I just want to say a quick shout out to Mississippi State University. They won their first College World Series. Dope for them. They won their first championship of any sport and anything. You know what I mean? So, and that's huge because you know how huge it is to win a championship in a particular sport. Yeah. But if your college ain't won nothing at all, talent, I'm gonna throw it to you, bro, and say this. Can you imagine what the parties are like going to be like this weekend at it's July 4th weekend too at Mississippi State?
Well, it depends on who party you go to. You go to the black party, that's gonna be crazy. A lot of scissor and all that. You go to the white side of town, you gotta duck under the noose to get in the house. Be careful. It is Mississippi burning.
Fig, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, you go to the white party, this would be a keg party. You go to the black party, this would be some illegal and possibly legal reefer.
Reefer.
Hey, sponsored by Dak Prescott.
Yo,
I think that was his alma mater. He was there in the stands. He was cheering for him, so he gave him a bunch of money. He said, "You guys go out and party." You know, Dak Prescott gave him a bunch of money because he just signed a big contract. Go, yeah. And if something go wrong, it was like, "Yo, Dak, we need to talk to you."
Yeah, Dak did it. Dak did it.
That's exactly what it is. Zach gave us the money to do it, and we did the whole thing. Now let me talk about something else, man. We always talk about other things. We don't talk much about baseball, but I got to bring up the New York Yankees to you guys because the Yankees are playing horribly this year. But this has got to be one of the most epic losses I've seen in a long time. They went up on my boy Ohtani. That boy was balling out. They put up at least a 2 or 3 piece on him. Then they went up by 6 runs. And I thought the game was over. I didn't even pay 7. I was okay. And they turned around and they lost 11-8. So talent. Now I always ask this, and I'm gonna ask you this now: should they fire Aaron Boone? What's your thoughts?
Yeah, this is when you take such a epic team, such a grandstanding team with the accolades and resumes of the New York Yankees. I hate to say it, but this is the exception to the rule. Normally, I believe people get a longer time in a position to make things happen. The iconic New York Yankee team is the exception to that rule. And I'm not saying you got to come in and win a championship, but by God, you can't. You got to stop the bleeding somehow, some way. This team is hemorrhaging this season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, Fig, I'm going to ask you the same question because the payroll out in the Yankees land is ridiculous.
Hey, man, there's this term in sports. It's called win or go home. In New York, that was made for the Yankee managers. You either win or you get your ass out of here. Mm-hmm. Yo, look, man, the Yankees, what we got, 27, 28 over the last 110 years or something like that. Meaning like every 4 years, the Yankee gets a World Series. That's the way it breaks down. Every 4 years, the Yankees is going to be one of those teams to win. And you coming in here and you got all this talent. You got people that can knock the ball, the skin off the damn ball. You got pitchers. You got all this talent, and you can't get wins. I mean, even after you're up in a game, like you took probably arguably the best pitcher in the game right now, and you made him have to sit down, and they throw in a replacement pitcher, and you still can't win? Oh, hell no. No, you ain't got to go home. You just got to get up out of here.
I just want to know how soon and how long it's going to be for ownership to hold Aaron Boone accountable. I mean, I know Aaron Boone's got a lot of name recognition and everything else, but talent. How long is it going to be before they hold him accountable? Because, bro, losing like that, man, you're going to lose a lot of money. The Yes Network drives in advertising for people to watch the games. People go see the game. If people start tuning them out and other stuff, somebody got to be held accountable. You know what I mean? That's my thought.
Give him about 2 months. 2 months?
Okay. I was hoping you would say 2 weeks, but that was just my thought.
Well, it's a hot girl summer, so give him 2 months.
Hey, Frank, here's the thing, man. His last name is Boone. That's a good old boy name. You can't just fire a good old boy until the dipping snuff runs out. You got a case of that stuff that he bought with. Then when the case runs out, and you got to go now. All right, you had all your chewing tobacco.
Yeah, but I tell you this right now, but this is one of the teams that if Dusty Baker was having that team right now, the Yankees would be killing it because Dusty Baker is a really good manager. You know what I mean? Like they'd be.
See, that's another one of them names, Dusty Baker.
Yeah, that's another good old boy name. You can't get rid of the Dusties and the Boones. The Dusty Boones are always going to be around.
The only thing we missing is Huckleberry Finn.
Yes.
See, got the Dusties, the Boones,
and Huckleberry.
All right. Well, I just for the record, y'all, just Dusty Baker's black, so that sounds good.
Yeah, but his name is Dusty. So. That's still
that name.
Okay. Listen, with a name like Dusty, you can be one of 3 things. You can either be a cowboy, you could be a manager for a baseball team, or somewhere in NASCAR.
Okay. Hey, the name Dusty Baker, that would make Mark Twain salivate. He'd be like, "Oh,
Dusty Baker. Yeah.
Dusty Baker. I got a story for that.
Yeah.
Dusty Baker. That's a dope name."
Yeah, that's right.
All right, so let's get ready to and continue on with the show. Let's see. Rodney Perry saying he's having a hard time. Let me try to send him to think one more time. I don't know how what's going on because we in it and I don't know. So anyway, let's continue on. This is something I wanted to say to you, Talent. We were talking about the Tour de France. We talked about the stupidity level of the fan. The Tour de France people said, you know what? We agree with Talent. Not only are we going to make sure charges are pressed, we're going to sue the fan. Now, we all know that was a young girl. I don't know what they're going to get from that young girl, but like you said yesterday, Talent, they are going to drag her name.
Right.
Like they're going to stand down with her. What you think, bro?
Yeah, and that's really all it is. It's not about every time we hear suing, it's not like somebody's going to make $20 million. Suing sometimes is to make a point, because they know that the court system and the legal system, it's a drag thing. Sometimes you do more damage taking up somebody's time and putting them through the ringer. I've seen like rich people do it all the time. Like they know that you're not worth anything or you're not getting anything, but it's gonna be like a harassment. I'm gonna call you in for depositions. You're gonna have to go do this, do that, get you all worked up, only to probably even at the end settle, drop it, or some slap on the wrist. But the traumatic experience of going through all that make your ass think twice about doing that dumb shit again.
Oh, anybody else? Is that Matt? Fat? Yes. Fig, what's your thoughts?
You added insult to injury. It was a dumb kid move. I mean, it was horrific. You know what I mean? It caused a lot of damage. When I looked at it again, man, it seemed like it really affected one team like really severely because they all had on the same uniform. So it was a team thing. When you're riding in a team biking sport, they all sort of ride like right behind each other. So when one got hit, the other one went down. It seemed like it really affected one team. But to sue this, sometimes when you sue somebody, even though they don't have no money now, you sue them like down the line. So even if they get some money later, then it's just a dumb idea, man. It's just I don't know. Did we just got finished talking about like kids don't know the consequences of their actions down the line? That was dumb.
All right, Rodney Perry's now joined the show. Rodney Perry, we're talking about the Tour de France suing the fan. What do you think about the Tour de France suing the fan as a young girl? They already slapping criminal charges on her and everything else, and now they're suing her also. What you think about that?
Tour de France don't give a damn. You mess this race up, your ass gonna pay. You understand me? You know how much this bike cost? This bike cost more like $10, $15, $20, $30,000. Your ass. Matter of fact, I'm gonna give all these French bikers a chance to kick you in your ass. Let me tell you something. Them French don't play, man. They don't get into no wars, but they will kick you.
Yeah, and they will. Let's be honest. They will spit on you also. You know what I mean? They will take a moment. So you know what? Let's do this moment where we can spit on because they don't play with their sports. They absolutely don't play. Now, before we jump and talk about the NBA, man, I got to talk about this one last thing because we talked about this for a couple of weeks, couple of months. We talked about the NCAA getting ready to get hit on the side with a left piece and the uppercut with the leagues getting ready to pay the high school players. All of a sudden, legislation drops where now the NCAA will allow the athletes to pay some money and make a substantial amount of money on blogging, on Twitter, on appearances, and most importantly, jersey sales.
Name and likeness, yes.
Name, likeness in any way, shape, or form, and anything along the lines, even sneakers and everything else, they can make some money. And you know what it is? I'm going to tell you this, Talent. It will equate more than $100,000 that the league was coming up to be able to pay the freshmen when they come in. We're talking millions of dollars. If you guys know, like I know, Baker Mayfield, Reggie Bush, those dudes would have made like $5 or $6 million in college. What's your thoughts on this, Talent?
I think it's wonderful. I think it's a great idea. It's way overdue. I mean, any way for these kids to make some money off their likeness and their brand, I think I'm with that. Somebody brought up a question early on one of the shows that I thought was interesting. It was like, okay, but everybody's not going to be that kid. Is it fair that one or two guys who can get those endorsements on that team of 40 players, is it fair? Like, and somebody answered and said, well, make you work harder at your shit.
Yeah.
You know, get better, be better, do better, and you'll get some endorsements.
Yeah, but let's not forget talent. Even if you're the lowest guy on the team and everything else, you're gonna get a couple of jerseys. So you might get $30, you might get $50, but you're gonna get something. Versus right now, everybody gets nothing. You know what I mean? Like, Fig, what's your thoughts?
Hey man, listen, boosters, the whole thing, man. You get you're able to make as much money as you can without that amateur athlete thing hanging over your head. It's funny that you mentioned Reggie Bush and stuff, man. They need to go back. All of these guys that they're punished for taking a slice of pizza or, you know, somebody buying them this and buying them that, they need to go back retroactively and give them back their awards, their Heisman trophies, you know, whatever it is that they won, because you knew you was taking advantage of these athletes, these young kids, and making money off of their backs and their likeness. So whatever you took from them, you need to go back retroactively and give it to them, because you know that was wrong.
You know, you made a good point, because first thing that jumped in my mind was the Fab Five. Second thing jumped in my mind was UNLV. Remember that whole taking money under the table? I mean, a lot. You go back. Reggie Bush lost. Rodney Perry. Reggie Bush lost the Heisman. You know what I mean? Like, Heisman over this. You know, so, and he took a little bit of change. But Rodney, what's your thoughts on this before we go on? What you think?
I mean, that's a great sentiment. It ain't gonna happen. But you know, it's like legalizing marijuana. I mean, there's still people in jail for selling marijuana, you believe it or not. And so, I mean, they not about to go back to retroactive. If they did, I would be very surprised. But I mean, this is huge, man. I mean, you look at it. You look at this like a guy can capitalize on his likeness, and it's never been like that before. So you look at, you know, some of the players, like you said, in the past, but going forward, there's also remedies that problem we talked about in terms of do you have to pay everybody, and this remedies that, because they're not paying athletes, they're allowing them to capitalize on who they are, and so the guys that don't have no press,
right.
Hey,
But let's not forget, hold on, Fig. Let's not forget this other thing too. Carmelo Anthony was leading that league of those guys who were getting ready to come in with that high school tournament. Remember that talent? Remember that, Fig? Remember that? We talked about that a couple of weeks ago. These high school kids, to supplement some income, we're going to make $100,000 a year starting freshman year in high school. Now I'm gonna throw it out. Well, Fig, you want to say something before I throw the question? You go ahead.
Yeah, they are letting. I was just say, to answer what Rodney said, they are letting people out who've been locked up for marijuana, depending on how much it was. My cousin was locked up for 10 nickel bags. He'll be out next week.
Do he still have the bags?
No, they confiscated it.
Now, wow, they didn't sell nickel bags no more.
The cops was confiscating it.
All right, so here's the thing. I'm gonna throw it out to you, Talon. Does this change the whole concept of a high school's mind? Because at the end of the day, when you're in high school, right, and you're sitting there saying, you know, if I can go still to D1 now and still make it to the pros and make money, I'm gonna do that. But Carmelo Anthony and a couple of tech guys, they literally is like, we gonna pay you in high school. I don't know if that's going to be a big enough deterrent to make them. I mean, I don't know, depending on how bad you are. That's just my thoughts. But $100,000 to a freshman in high school is a lot. But also at that $100,000 comes, you can't play in the NCAA. You know what I mean? So
this is going to be first of all, of course, this is huge. This is like going to that town and to that strip club where they had to wear the pasties, and all of a sudden they could take them off and nipples are out.
Ooh, what?
How the hell you know?
That's how the game has changed. And here's the thing. This thing is going to affect everybody case by case. You got some kids, Frank, believe it or not, college ain't for them. And the best bet for them is to go get that $100,000 and then try to make their way into the league. Then you got kids that college, they college kids. They're able to do both. The Grand Hills and all those people that ain't going to have no problem with their grades and stuff like that. But then you got the kids like me. I'm going to that strip club.
Bro, how did you equate strip clubs and pasties to pay it? I don't know, Fig, what you want to say to that? I don't understand how. I don't understand how you do that.
To sum this up, Talon is right. I'm just.
For the record,
Hey,
I've
man,
never
listen.
been to a strip club, so I don't know what he's talking about.
Hey, listen. Hey, let me just tell you this, man. $100,000 in high school is a boatload. Man, I was the dude when I had a summer job. You understand what I'm saying? I was making a couple $100 every week or every other week or something like that. When I had money, you had money and you was in high school. You know what $100,000 is in high school? College can't compete with that. I don't care. There's gonna be some kid that ain't gonna get no endorsements and stuff like that, and he gonna go to high school and get a high school team and get $100,000. Man, listen.
I think you're thinking of one thing wrong, Faye, because when you got to remember this, when you're coming from 8th grade, you're not getting endorsements anyway. By the time you get to, by the time you're a freshman in high school, you're still developing everything else. These guys are trying to push forward, saying, "Listen, we see the potential. We're gonna give you $100,000. Why wait 4 years to get to college?" But at the same time, colleges on this side, they're saying, "Yeah, you get $100,000 for 4 years, but you can make millions." I mean, millions. Let's say 4 years, you make $400,000. But if you're making right now things like that, you literally could easily make $10 million off of jersey sales in college, your freshman year in college.
Bird in the hand, Frank. And I'm gonna tell you what else it does. Do you know that all those European players that come over here and seem to do very well? It seems as though those guys been playing since they were 14, 15, 16 years old. Then when they get to the NBA, they become like really good stars. You know what I mean? Like the Luka Doncic and stuff like these guys are really good. LaMelo Ball went over and played. You know what I mean? When he came back, rookie of the year. You know what I mean? It just gives you an advantage when you're playing competitive ball at an early age. That's all I'm saying.
No, I see what you're saying, but that's a little bit of a different path. What I'm saying, and I'm gonna throw it to you, Rodney Perry. What I'm saying is when you're a college kid, you have the potential to make millions. But now you're forcing two things that are happening. You're forcing the NCAA to make sure they keep these players to continue to come in. And you're also forcing families, heads of families, fathers and mothers, mostly mothers who are working 2 jobs, to say, listen, I'm going to still struggle for 4 more years because don't take that easy money now. We'll be all right. Don't take that easy money because you can make millions later on down the road. Or they'll be like, you know what, take it now because we need it now. I mean, I don't know. I mean, if I'm head of a family, I'm saying that to the child because the child in freshman year in high school look like they could potentially make millions. What are you saying to your kid, Rodney Perry? Take a couple $100,000 now or make millions in college?
Well, let's all step back a little bit and look at the athlete that would be privy to either one of these. They'll be really good, right? Yeah. So we're talking about top-notch athletes. These ain't no Rudy Poots. This ain't my kids.
So well, no, you equated your kids to Rudy Poots. I just want to make sure I did that for
my kids barely getting by. Academically and physically.
All right, but go ahead.
You have a track starting family, but I say that we're talking to top-notch athletes. So whichever we already have seen athletes come out of high school and play in the NBA and forego college altogether. So this gives you a reason to incubate in college a little longer. Now when you get into the $100,000 things, they're going to be a tier of athletes that are below the top tier that are going to jump at that money.
Right.
And, probably never see an NBA team and they can benefit from it and they can make some, I think it creates an avenue for some maybe lesser athletes to incubate and maybe get to that next level and make some money at the same time. I don't know what y'all think.
Right. Let me give a quick shout out to Trina who threw up there like, Frank, you ain't never been to a strip club. Trina, I was lying. I've been to a strip club. I was lying. I just know my wife is watching, so I'm trying to be on my P's and Q's.
Your wife know you ain't no goody two-shoes. That's what she likes about you.
I know she knows.
What's her name again, Frank? Trina,
who's on the side, who commented.
On the side?
I'm not. Trina who commented. See, this is how you try to walk me into some stuff. I ain't falling for the Rudy Poo. I ain't falling for the Rudy Poo. What you call it, Rudy Poo?
Is this Trina the same Trina that's the baddest chick?
I don't know.
Is that the Trina you're talking about?
Stop asking questions about Trina.
Okay.
Stop doing it.
You said don't. I don't know.
Stop.
Hey, Cut to, we get up there. Who the fuck is Trina?
Yeah, right.
And why is he on his side?
Yeah. All right, let me talk about the game last night, man. I got to talk about the game because there's so many storylines out of that game last night, man. First and foremost, Talent likes to everybody throw it up there. You know I'm going to give Talent a hard time with this one. This nigga over here, he like to rub it in my face when he win. So let me just do a little bit of smooth action right here like this. When Talent picked the Clippers to win the series, Talent, what is your thoughts right now? Because the Phoenix Suns advanced. I'll be honest with you, too. I'm going to throw it to you, Talent. After a while, I was starting to root for the Clippers, man, because I 51 years, bro, they ain't never been to the finals, and I started to root for them after a while. But what's your thoughts on the series, bro?
Well, even though I went for the Clippers, I think that my thoughts is there's no wrong answer in this. I'm super happy. I can't act like I'm not happy for Chris Paul. You got to be the biggest asshole in sports to not feel something for Chris Paul. A stellar player, an all-star player, one of the greatest players to bless the game. And finally, for him, same thing. Finally, for him, if Kawhi goes, Kawhi's been before several times. Chris Paul never even reached it, much less won it. This was like that moment. So, like, everything that I lost $100 on this series to a good friend. And I didn't feel an ounce of a dollar from that 100 because of how I felt watching Chris Paul. He's a class act, man. I felt like he's getting what he deserved. Now I'm taking that same money I lost, and I'm putting it on Chris Paul.
Okay, well, I think Pat Beverly.
Right?
I don't think Pat Beverly agreed with Talent. What you think, Fig? I think it's
right there with Chris. Hey, but let me tell you this, man. Listen, anybody, it's just like the guys that picked the Nets. We picked the Nets with Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden. That's the team that you pick. You pick the Clippers. You're picking a Kawhi Leonard team, Paul George. And let's not forget they lost their starting center too. And this goes back to something that I was saying before. DeAndre Ayton played like a center. Did you see him? He really played like a center. Like, he only scored like 16 points, but he got 17 rebounds. 17 rebounds. DeAndre Ayton, he played like he didn't take no three-pointers. He wasn't out there trying to dribble the ball between his legs and be a point guard like he was Steph Curry or Dame Dollar or somebody. He played the center position. And if you notice, all of the teams that are making it to the finals, the Final Four, they all have centers that play like centers.
Okay, Rodney Perry, what's your thoughts on this?
I don't know if that's true, but okay.
All you gotta do is watch.
I mean, but okay. He's the only one that's playing like that, but that's okay. I agree. I mean, the guy is definitely playing lights out basketball. The Clippers are still not working. And sometimes you got to put the Clippers away. And if I'm Doc Rivers, I'm saying it wasn't me. That's what I'm saying. If I'm Doc Rivers, but here goes, man. You feel for the Clippers, man. You know, like I played for the Clippers in the '80s, and back when you can just go out there and get a pickup game with the team, and there were good guys then, and they're still good guys. I mean, I find a little soft place in my heart for those guys, man. And then you say to yourself, you really want them to get there. You know, and they good. They're really a good squad, and it's sad to see him go. But like Talent said, you gotta. Then Chris Paul dropped 41.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. He dropped 41.
What happened to his bad shoulder?
0 turnovers.
Yeah.
What happened
to his COVID? Like, he the sickest, not sick. Him and Magic must have the same thing.
Yeah, that's hilarious. Let me ask you this, Talent. I'm gonna start with you with this on this Clippers subject, man. What do the Clippers do now with Kawhi? Because there's a lot of storylines that come out of that series. Obviously we all know the Clippers storyline. I mean the Suns storyline with Chris Paul, how he hasn't been to the. We all know all that. But now let's look at the Clippers now. Do the Clippers re-sign and go after Kawhi? And should they be worried that Kawhi might not re-sign? What's your thoughts?
Well, in a dumb version, if they're part of the unbright, which I feel like they are, they're going to get rid of Kawhi and do some shape shifting and mess it up even worse. To me, you play ball. You see why you lost and why you got ousted when you did. Made it all the way to the conference this time. And you only got ousted due to an injury to your number one star player. You don't change shit. You had everything working that needed to be working, and the injury gods took you out. You have to look at it that way. Don't look at it like, oh, this guy could have did better, this guy could, because everybody did well enough for you to get 6 games into that. It ain't but 7-game series. And you got 6 in the conference finals. You don't mess with anything. Matter of fact, you want to improve something? Play ball and play real minutes and stop trying to take nights off.
Yeah. Matter of fact, Fig, what they should do is sign Reggie Jackson, make sure they re-sign that brother, make sure he gets paid, and make sure they sign Kawhi Leonard. That's what I would do. Don't change nothing. You got all the elements there. What you think, Fig?
Man, the thing is, you're absolutely right. There's nobody that knows anything about basketball that would say Phoenix beats the Clippers if the Clippers are 100% healthy. You got a guy, you missing arguably your best player in Kawhi Leonard. You lost your starting center 2 games ago, and you were able to take a fully healthy team to 6 games. You think if you bring it back and everybody is healthy, you don't win? I put my money on the Clippers 100% healthy to beat the Suns because they're just that good. Paul George did as much as he possibly could. You know what I mean? Everybody did well, man. Reggie Jackson. I mean, those cats balled out. You got Kawhi Leonard. I think you're on your way to the finals.
Rodney Perry, what's your thoughts? Because I think so too. I think if Kawhi plays, they balled out without him.
Hey, on paper, the Clippers look amazing. They have all the things you need to have won it all. But yet and still, they didn't. They didn't, and they didn't last year, and they didn't this year. They was healthy as hell last year, then they had mental breakdown. And now they had a real physical breakdown, and we all know Kawhi ain't playing if he hurt a little bit. Kawhi ain't going out there and hurt nothing else. So I don't know if we can unequivocally say that if the Clippers are healthy, they're going to win. I don't think we can say that because they were healthy last year in the bubble, and they had a mental breakdown. So, I mean, what happens when that happens again? I mean, I like the guys, man. I like that Reggie Jackson kid who emerged this playoffs. Man, the guy was great, and how Paul George, in the face of losing his right hand man, still stood up and made some great plays. But I wouldn't bet $1 on Clippers to win nothing.
I gotta say, Rodney, I disagree with you.
Prove that they can get it done.
I disagree with one thing, man. The Clippers, this team this year is not the same team last year because Terrence Mann and Reggie Jackson were complete. They played lights out ball. They gave the Clippers that extra oomph that they didn't have. You know what I mean? And Paul George,
we don't even hear about them guys.
That's true. But if Paul George, I've never seen him play that well. I ain't never seen Paul George play that well, bro. So
I don't think. Well, again, this is all we're talking about now is contingent on Kawhi not being there. Kawhi goes down and creates the bubble that shows us Chris Paul is still cold as fuck. I mean, Chris Paul is still cold, and Reggie Jackson is where he come from.
Yeah,
that's all. That all came as a result of Kawhi going down. So maybe Kawhi's problem.
I would put my money on the Clippers. This is a different Clipper team this year, but you just pulled the Chris Paul. You see, Chris Paul was so excited in the post interview. And he cursed on TV last night.
I see.
Like, what's going through your mind, man? It's a lot of shit. I mean, I'm sorry.
But hey, Tyler, let me ask you this, man. What do you think about the play when Pat Beverly came up behind him and pushed him like that, man? Because I got so angry. I don't even care about either team. But when he came up behind him, not like he pushed him in his face to face, he came up behind him and pushed him like that, man. I was like, man, that's a cowardly move. Man. What you think?
It was a coward's move, no doubt, but it made the best meme of the day. Did you see the meme today?
No, I ain't see it.
The picture of him pushing him in the back. You got the picture of him pushing him in the back. You got the picture of Jake from State Farm with next to Chris Paul, and it goes, even when they push you in the back, when you're walking away, you fall down. State Farm is here for you.
No.
Hilarious.
Yo, it's the coldest meeting. But yeah, that's what happens with that is that's that aggravation. That's that basketball aggravation. That's my most fun part to see in basketball. When a player unravels to the point where they do some stupid ass petty shit like that. Like dude was so worked up and upset because the man busting your head. He got 41 unanswered, this many turnovers. See, people always look at the points. Like I used to do this with Jordan. Oh, Jordan dropped 51. Yeah, but on what type of shooting? You want me to get excited on what numbers did he shoot to get the 51? Because if he shot 56 shots and he got 51, it's horrible. You know what I mean? But this dude got his 41 off a decent ass percentage shooting with 0 turnovers, and he's the point guard. That's an immaculate performance.
Yeah.
What do you think about Pat Bev shoving the back?
Hey man, see the thing is that we got to go back to what Chris Paul said, because he walked by. Nobody knows. I ain't gonna say how I got the information, but he said, "I'm coming over to the house later. Tell your mother to fix me a plate."
That's cool.
And Pat Bev, that's what Chris Paul said when he walked past me. Coming over there and I tell your mother to fix me a plate. And then he kept walking and Pat Bev pushed him. My mother ain't fixing you no plate.
And the crazy thing is when he pushed him, he said like some slavery shit with it. He was like, get on from around here.
Oh, that's hilarious. Rodney Perry, what do you think about the Pat Bev push?
Hey, to be honest, I do believe that Fig is on something here, man. I think Chris Paul be saying shit.
Oh, he definitely does.
All the time. And people he gets under people's skin like he's not the most liked guy in the NBA. And it's a reason. I mean, he's like you know what, he's like a babyface assassin like the Detroit years with Isaiah Thomas. People thought Isaiah was a great guy. He is a great guy, but he would say stuff and do stuff that you like, really, dude? And Chris Paul is that guy. So don't get me wrong, Pat Bev lost his head, and a lot of times guys figure we're gonna lose the game. Let's win this fight. And
Yes,
to be honest, I don't think they could win the fight either. And somebody said to the Pat Bev, like, yo, dog, we don't know if we can beat these dudes. He look like he got a fifth of something in his damn sock.
who this?
Let me tell you something. In the history of basketball, and this is a fact, point guards and guards in general have been known to be the most S talkers in the game.
Yeah,
They talk in the guard position is the most shit talkers in the game from Gary Payton on.
All right, well, let me move on because I got breaking news just dropped, and I want to talk about the next series.
Get that out, whatever that little hawk was.
I wanted to talk about some breaking series. Breaking news. We got to talk about the Bucks series, the Bucks versus the Hawks series, man. And the news just flashed across my screen, that Giannis is definitely ruled out for the next game. So he's definitely not playing. So that changes a lot of things for the series, man. And I'm gonna throw it to you, Talent, and ask you: do you still have hope for the Bucks to win the series without Giannis? What's your thoughts on this, man?
Yeah, because I don't think he'll miss the whole series because they're just. I seen that earlier, and the problem is because he has a. The test came back negative, so nothing major is going on. It's just a lot of swelling, and they want, the swelling to go down, which makes sense. You don't aggravate or play on something that still remains aggravated. So I see them potentially, if the players don't step up, like I do expect Middleton and those guys and your guy Holiday to have great games and step up. But if they don't, it's just a pivot game. It's 2-2, and the game is going to pivot. But I think it's going to be still a competitive game. I'm still taking the Bucks to the end. You know what I mean? I'm riding the Bucks to the end. I'm not a bandwagon dude, but I think, and then we still don't know what's going to happen with Trey.
Yeah. I like that's what I like about you, Talent. You don't jump ship midstream. You ain't jumping ship. Like, I'll ride you right over the cliff. So, Vic, what's your thoughts?
Hey man, listen. I don't know. You probably didn't hear it because I didn't hear you say anything. I thought you were going to say something. Capella got something going on too.
Yeah, he does.
Capella and Trey Young, so they're out for tonight's game also. So here's the thing: they're missing their center and their point guard. And that was the reason why I was giving kudos to Atlanta in the first place, because their center was playing like a center. You know, like Capella, he ain't got no dribbling and no shooting from the outside. He get dunks, rebounds, he block shots. He played like a center. What a novel idea for a 7-footer to play the center position like a center.
Interesting. Rodney Perry, what was your thoughts?
The Hawks look good, man. But like Fig said, they're down 2 of their main guys. But here's the thing about the Hawks, man. I went in the barbershop yesterday and talked to some real Hawks fans. I'm not a real Hawks fan, but you know, by osmosis, you kind of get some Hawks energy because they winning. Because I'm in the city. But the reality is that they got a lot of guys that can put the ball in the hole. Like, I mean, all up and down the bench, they got some real scores. So I think they're deeper than the Bucks are, and we about to find out.
A lot of guys that can put the ball in the hole. That's what she said.
And they're deeper. And they're deeper than the Bucks.
And then let me tell you something. It's deeper than the Bucks. Yeah, well, there you go. Size has it. Listen, y'all can't tell me that Pat Bev don't look like he'd be riding the subway if he wasn't playing basketball.
Oh, yeah. He'd be sitting next to DeAndre Ayton. They both look like they drink vodka for the show, for the game.
All right, let me ask you guys this question. Here's the thing. Do you guys get the sense that the Atlanta Hawks could be the Miami Heat of last season? Because that's the sense I'm getting. You know, the Miami Hawks, nobody expected them to beat the Celtics last year, and they ended up beating the Celtics. And this year, I'm getting the feeling that the Atlanta Hawks could be like how Miami Heat was last year, how Miami Heat came out of nowhere and beat everybody. You know what I mean? This year, it's the Atlanta Hawks. They're beating everybody. Yeah. They came out of nowhere. Yeah. I'm getting that same sense because every time they matched up with somebody last year, Miami, everybody's like, yeah, well, they're gonna lose. They're gonna lose. They're gonna lose to Toronto. They're gonna lose to and they're gonna lose to the Celtics. And they beat everybody and they end up getting to the finals. I have a strange feeling. This may be crazy, but I have a strange feeling that they're going to upset the Bucks. That's
a great analogy. I love that analogy. And I'm gonna tell you this, Frank. You know what? I wouldn't be mad at every year something like that happens. Keeps the damn game exciting.
Right. Yeah.
I hate knowing who.
You know why?
Who's going every year.
You know why you said that? Because you know the Knicks is in that same vein. They're gonna surprise somebody next year. You ain't slick, Nick, bro. You ain't slick. He was about to drop that knowledge, and you know he's about to say, in 2 years, that'll be the New York Knicks. Like, we're not talking about the New York Knicks conversation. That will not happen. No. Two of these. No. I want to move on to the next thing, man, because a couple things dropped, a couple things that came up, and we were talking yesterday about a couple of coaches. Rodney, you missed this conversation, I think. Here's another thing, man. Jason Kidd.
Yesterday, I definitely missed it. But go ahead.
Jason Kidd is being talked about right now also as not being worthy of being the head coach of Dallas. People are up in arms right now about Jason Kidd being a head coach in Dallas, saying that he's not worthy and he shouldn't be signed and they should have gotten somebody else. Jason Kidd is catching a lot of flack like that. Yesterday was Chauncey Billups. Today it's Jason Kidd. So are we concerned that these black coaches are getting this kind of slack talent out of every? I have never heard so much slack coming to head coaches being hired ever in the NBA season. What's your thoughts, talent?
You can't win for losing, man. I just watched the government complain for a month straight that nobody want to get back to work. Here you got a couple of black dudes that want to go back to work. They've been complaining. People won't go back to work. They're getting the unemployment. They're getting the PPP loans. And they won't go back to work. People having a problem staffing their businesses. Here it is, two perfectly good Negroes that want to go to work.
Trying to work. They trying to work.
And they're flat for going to work.
Well, I'm gonna ask Fig a different question because I want to get these questions out. The time is running out. Fig, question for you, man. Where do you think Reggie Jackson's gonna land at next season, bro? Where you see him at? And I don't say take the New York Knicks fan out of you. Where do you really think?
No, because I really think the Knicks are going after Dennis Schroeder. I think if they're smart, I think the Clippers pay Reggie Jackson again, man. I I mean, damn, do you think they go as far as they did? I mean, with Kawhi going down, do you think they go as far as they did without Reggie Jackson? I'm like, yo, man, if I'm Steve Ballmer, man, I'm putting the contract up there for Reggie Jackson to sign, man, because he was balling out and they really need him. Rondo did not produce for the Clippers the way he produced for the Lakers last year, and Reggie Jackson was that dude. So if they have any sense at all, the Clippers re-sign him.
All right, last question for you, Rodney Perry. Something completely different too. CJ McCollum. Portland is trying to do everything they can do because they're having a lot of drama over there too, with the hiring of the coach and everything else. We were talking about that yesterday. They were up in arms about hiring Chauncey Billups. Do you think Chauncey comes walks in and say, "Listen, in order for us to improve, we got to trade CJ McCollum," or do you think they up there try to keep him? What you think?
I mean, they better try to keep Dame out there. I mean, if they lose Dame, they're gonna need CJ McCollum. So that's the scuttlebutt I've been reading and hearing about is that, you know, they're having a tougher time keeping Dame. So they might break up Dame and McCullough just to keep Dame. You know what I mean? And bring in a viable guy. But the question is, who do you get for McCullough? You know, so it's a tough call. And again, who wanted to play in Portland?
Yeah, that's true.
Did Rodney just say scuttlebutt? What's a scuttlebutt?
My vocabulary is vast.
Hey, there go that MSU party I was talking about.
All right,
Rodney on them edibles. What's a scuttlebutt?
You don't know what scuttlebutt is?
Tell everybody out there how they can follow you, bro.
Use it this week, try.
Hey, everybody, email me so you can be a part of the big 30th anniversary weekend, July 30th, 31st, and the 1st. Talent@itsjustcomedy.com. Talent@itsjustcomedy.com. If you want to check out the flyer with information, go on my Instagram, Talent the Comedian. Just that simple. Bomb.
Fig.
Holla at your boy on social media platforms, Comedian Fig. Boxies, Monday through Friday, 1 to 2 p.m. I'm going to be here, even if Rodney ain't.
Rodney Perry.
Hey, Rodney Perry live on all social media. Check me out this evening. The show is Hot Topics. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, great show. All right, y'all. Y'all know the name of the show. It's called Box Seats. We come on 1 to 2 every day, Monday through Friday, Eastern Standard Time. We got to get ready to roll up out of here tomorrow. We got to continue on with the conversation because I've been seeing some stuff of people getting ready to try to do something really crazy this NBA offseason. We're going to talk about that. And, of course, we got to talk about what's getting ready to drop off in the NFL. There's a lot of stuff to talk about that we're going to have to hit up on. So y'all ain't going to want to miss this. That's the show. That's Talent. That's Fig. That's Rodney. I'm Frank. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Peace.